the regular meeting of the Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District. And the first thing, if you will help, is roll call.
Awesome. Manager Shotmuller,
Here.
Manager Bucky,
Here.
Manager Taves. I wasn't sure if I saw him. Manager Schmaltz,
Here.
President Anderson.
Here. Okay, we have a quorum. We will proceed. First item is the review of the agenda. And do you have anything to add? Anyone?
Madam President. I propose several items based on some different conversations. One is kind of related to the resolution discussion that the board had. This is just some information about the upcoming Clean Water Council meeting on Monday. And just to inform the rest of the board that we've submitted some comments and we're planning to attend on Monday for the make a request. So item number one, we'll just add that to old business. And then there's been some discussion. I've been contacted about the Cranberry Lake property and there's brought it up briefly. I just wanted maybe have a little bit more conversation with the board about that and then whether or not to take any further direction on investigating that. And then finally, just as a reminder, the summer tour up in Detroit Lakes later in August. Let the board know that reservations and registration is now open.
Did they say what they were going to be showing us? What kind of a project?
I have not seen that on the agenda yet.
Okay. All right. Anything else? So Clean Water Council request. Is that what you're talking about when you say? Okay,
Cranberry Lake and then
Cranberry Lake.
summer tour.
Okay. Okay. Anything else from anyone? Okay, is there a motion to approve the amended agenda?
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Mr. Schottmuller got it before you did, Dave, okay?
That's fine.
All right. Roll call.
All right, Manager Shotmuller,
Aye.
Manager Bucky,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz,
Aye.
President Anderson.
Aye. All right, let's get moving then. The consent agenda is next. We have meeting minutes from May 14th and May 26th. Are there any changes that anyone wants to make? Not, a motion to approve consent agenda.
I'll move that we approve the consent agenda.
Okay, is there a second?
Second again?
All right,
Well, Manager Shotmuller,
Aye.
Manager Bucky,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz,
Aye.
President Anderson.
aye. Moving on, new business, Lassard Sam's Outdoor Heritage Fund Grant Awards.
I'm president, managers, and we'll get back to page here. The district is in process, as you know, we submitted a little over a year ago for these two grant requests and are in line to receive these funds after the 1st of July. There'll be another meeting on Wednesday to finalize it. Staff will be in attendance those meetings. But there is a proposal here to make an adjustment to the budget to reflect some of these changes, and either Blaine or Emily can go walk through any of the details, but otherwise, if there's no questions, we can just proceed to a motion and
Mhm.
have a discussion.
So we're just to clarify, we're just moving dollars around. We're not increasing the dollars or overspending or underspending.
We are in fact adding dollars to the budget based on anticipated work once the the grants become effective after July 1st. It will.
So it's covered by the grant, then?
Correct.
If we approve 25,000 and moving the 210,000 or 90,000 at the bottom, is that, are we authorizing spending prior to the grant dollars? And will it all be spent prior to our final approval? Or is it just preparing for it, and it, for some reason it fell through, we did not overcommit these dollars somewhere else?
Correct, we are preparing for the planned expenditure. Given the history of the funding source. There's, the bill has been passed. And it's just finalizing really, the meeting next Wednesday will be the final piece of it. And then it'll go into effect on July 1st. We'll have a process to, with them, we're authorized to start spending effectively July 1st. We'll proceed with developing the agreements and portion with them through the month of July.
There's no scenario that you see that we'd end up spending money but not get the grant money.
We are getting not to do any work prior to the effective.
I think if you, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if you spend money before you get the grant, then it's not covered. Is that correct?
Correct,
Yeah.
so we're, so right.
That's why we have to kind of hold everything back.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
President Anderson,
Yes, go ahead. Manager
I'll make a
Barkey.
motion to amend the 2026 budget for account 6-000-1 Greenbelt and Open Space to 25,000 and to transfer 25,000 from account 000-3300 grants receivable to account 6-000-1 effective July 1st, 2026.
No, I just can we just note that those are Is and not ones?
Thank you for clarifying that. I wasn't sure about that. So that should be
Yes.
00-I Greenbelt and Open Space and 0-6-00-I.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
any further discussion on motion 1?
I'll second it. Or-
No, we've already got the first and second. I'm just
Yes.
asking.
No second.
Oh,
We do
yeah.
now though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought we did.
Yeah. Okay, now, is there any discussion? Okay, this isn't on the grant, but it involves the project, and I just wanted. After motion 2, I'd like to bring that up and we can talk a little bit more about it. So, is there a roll call then for motion 1?
All right, Manager Shopmiller,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz,
Aye.
President Anderson.
Aye. Okay, proposed motion 2.
I'll move to amend the 2026 budget for account 5-420-C wetland enhancements to $210,881 and to transfer $89,881 from account 000-3300 grants receivable to account 5-420-C effective July 1st, 2026.
Okay,
I'll second that.
thank you. Roll call?
Did you want a discussion for that roll call?
I can do that.
Okay, Manager Shopmiller,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz.
Aye.
President Anderson.
Hi. And then real quickly, I just wanted to mention here that I think this is a big deal project. It's taken a long time and we're kicking it off. And I would recommend that we do an interview with the papers, both Chisago and it doesn't have to be a big thing, but to another project that obviously we're working with our partners locally. And then later, we can do a more in-depth as we start projects and go through that. But these are, these are the old time info meetings that we had to inform the public of all these big projects, so nobody is confused about what's happening, and it's a way to build that partnership again with each of our community councils, so I will talk to staff about that and get that moving, but I think it's important that we do it. Okay, next item is Shallow Pond Audubon property donation and ESA SOW.
And President Manders, maybe I'll just let Lane, give a short overview of this topic.
Sure. Madam President, managers, just want to take a few minutes to discuss the Audubon property acquisition and environmental impact statement or assessment. As you know, the Wild River Audubon Society owns a portion of the Shallow Pond area, approximately 66 acres. They're interested in donating that to the district. They had initially approached the city of Wyoming. They were not that interested. They connected the Audubon Society and the district. And we've been working with them to take acquisition of that particular parcel. That would start basically the core of the green belt corridor that we're trying to develop. So it'd be a good start in that regard. As part of any acquisition, we need to go through some due diligence. According to the watershed management plan, we evaluate the area for any hazards or anything like that. Part of that is the level 1 environmental site assessment, just to make sure that we're not acquiring any Superfund sites or anything like that, any contaminated areas. So before us today is a scope from EOR for that level 1 environmental assessment. We would implement that after the grant dollars have been given to us on become effective July 1 to 2026. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all might have.
I'm going to, we can do the talk afterwards, but I'm gonna make the motion to direct the administrator on advice of council to enter into an agreement with EOR in accordance with the May 20th, 2026 scope of work in an amount not to exceed $4,500, and to direct EOR not to begin work until the grant start date. Seconded by who?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any comments or questions?
I have a question on the 66 acres because that sounds large. Does that go towards our 99 acre feet?
It will, so the 66 acres would kind of start the greenway, and we can expand out from that. There's additional properties in the Shallow Pond area that would need to be acquired or easements in order to do any sort of flood storage on those properties.
Okay,
So this would be the first step in moving a project like that forward, but there'd be a lot of additional work that would need to be done before we'd be able to implement anything.
yeah.
Shallow Pond is a natural holding pond for the Sunrise River.
Okay.
So as all that water comes in from Anoka County and Forest Lake, commercial area, basically everything from this lake up is drains to the Comfort Lake area, Sunrise River. So it's always been there, and this is an opportunity for us to get, there's gonna be some cost in the evaluations, but there's no cost for the property itself. It will stay that way, in the future forever, basically, because it's gonna be held as it always has been, which is part of that. But there may be some things like they were talking about that need to be cleaned up around the perimeter and that kind of thing.
Sure.
But to his question about the acre feet, I mean, that's already included in the holding, I would think, by EOR's reports.
No,
Do you see that?
are we conflating things?
Yeah.
Correct,
Okay.
yes, the 99 acre feet is large storage, it is literally an acre 1 foot deep.
Okay,
So, and so we're looking for 99 equivalent, so this is just land area, so. That of the property.
Yeah.
So if we were to.
take a foot of dirt out of there. Theoretically,
add a foot of water elevation. Then if we put a riser or a control on the culvert. You backed up a foot, then we would have 66 feet.
okay,
So, or if we go to 6 inches, it would be half that, 33 acre feet
right,
across that same, but we need more property as indicated. Cause it's not just that
sure.
property, it's, the adjoining, which is part of the whole green belt.
I don't mean to keep bringing up the same issue over and over. It's me trying to get grasp on. An understanding on how this is gonna work. If we're going for 99. I'm guessing that 99 equals all of the acre feet we have currently,
No.
like all this, it's an additional.
Yeah.
Provide additional storage.
So what do we have now?
Total,
Oh,
a lot.
yeah, right, that would be, cause you'd have to look at all the wetlands and then.
Sure,
Like figure out what some average depth is, plus the water bodies themselves. Like that's all storage, right? So, and they're not all each.
okay, maybe I just need some sidebars to better understand the.
Well,
Immaculate.
it's probably questions that much of the public would have to
Right.
do if they're listening and also, watching the recording later or something, so, and. The reality is just like. Projects that we've done using that Pareto was that not all projects are equal. We don't, same thing. That's part of. The work that the board is discussing about the sites that had been identified in the Sunrise or the drainage area for Comfort Lake. Was that there are many sites that could have been done. Those were the ones that appeared to have risen up to the top. Did you think about how much of that Sunrise corridor is actual wetland?
Yeah. What I'm not seeing in this, and this is probably the situation, is that I don't understand the benefit of us getting it. There's no, what does getting this property do for us?
It gives us 3/4 of a holding area.
Right, so it feels like it does get us some holding, but it doesn't sound like.
But it's not real until you get the other a
Right.
quarter. So when you can do something to it to hold more water than it currently holds, either digging it out, like you said, or raising it up by blocking the weirs, so the more water can be held behind it. Those are the two options. But if you don't get it now, we're not, you gotta piecemeal it. That's the difficult problem of this whole business, is everything's piecemeal with a lot of customers and
I didn't mean it wasn't beneficial, I just mean
Yeah.
it's not clear to me what the benefit
Right.
is, so
Right.
I would think it would be helpful if we do things like this, that there is what's the ultimate benefit that we're gonna get for Forest Lake? What is the benefit gonna be? What do we see here? Is this future holding? Is it just green space? Is it, if we get it, then somebody else doesn't get it? Is it, right? So that's.
Yeah.
That's kind of,
Some of the answers probably in the link to the watershed management plan, and that would be another whole. Conversation, discussion, but we could always certainly have that piece, because the board spent about 3 years. In the development of the watershed management plan, and that was one of the core elements of it there, so.
was to get that piece of property.
Well,
No, just the effort in terms of providing the additional.
Yeah.
If you read that section of the plan, I think you'd have some good background.
Sure.
I think,
So, you don't have to read all
Yeah.
2 books, just 20 pages or whatever it has to do with flood control.
I think the big thing that you just need to understand is that it's part of a river system. And so that river system needs to be protected so that it doesn't degrade and shoot all kinds of stuff that we don't want downstream. And it connects to the, eventually it connects to the Lower St. Croix. And that's what we're all about on that Lower St. Croix partnership, is protecting the corridors that bring water to the Lower St. Croix and to our own lakes downstream.
Yeah, I don't want you to think that there's even a small bit of me
Yeah.
that isn't for this, I just don't understand.
No, that's how you're gonna learn.
Well,
That's the
So that's why I'm asking this, okay.
I understand that.
Okay,
And I
We all
will
went through
explain
this.
it, that it's, there's other uses besides those acre feet that we
Sure.
want. That's additional to what we already have. And you certainly want to protect any inputs into a river system. And the Sunrise is a big river system, starts over in Anoka.
Madam President, so the staff had sent out a link to a bunch of the H&H modeling or the district has done over the last 5 years or so. We'll highlight a couple of those, perhaps for this as a reminder for them. Because there were quite a few, which ones to focus on, but in this particular site, one thing that, well, several things that we know is historical records have shown that that shallow pond was actually an open water body historically. It's much, but as we presented to the Lake Association, lakes, if, you know, they have their own life cycle, they will start filling in, so probably artificially, and that's still occurring now, the data that we've been gathering through monitoring is showing the both phosphorus and sediment is being deposited into that location, so it's not intended to be a treatment facility, it's it was called shallow pond, but it was at some point a shallow lake. And so, and at some point, once you fill up something like that, and then it'll start, under certain conditions, start exporting nutrients downstream.
Sure.
Not intended to be a treatment system, but that's what it's been functioning like for some number of decades. So it's protecting the longevity of that part of it. We also know from just staff experience over the last, well, at least 12 years that I've been here, there's times where some of that material has blocked the culvert on the outlet side of shallow pond. And then the water level has risen, I don't know, 18 inches, almost 2 feet. And nobody has complained until Archie Ducharme all the way back to the county line and say, hey, Mike, I think there's something going on with the outlet. There's no water flow, you know, so he was paying attention, right?
Yeah.
So, and sure enough, we go there and we coordinate with the city. But it was so we know that the system can handle a lot of storage. And, you know, one of the things that we're also trying to do again is protect that longevity. So it's many things that, you know, I see the district doing is thinking about things through the long game. And that's gonna be even part of the conversation about Cranberry Lake. There's a difference between an immediate benefit or versus something in the long game. So based on our current understanding, we've done a substantial amount of investigative work on the Sunrise and shallow pond in particular as well. To know that that is a priority area for this purpose. It would be the most logical and most beneficial location to do some sort of consideration for a project, but there's a long way to go, including just the acquisition portion.
Okay.
But it just happened to coincide with the Audubon wanting to not be a caretaker or anything. They didn't see that really as their role.
Sure.
You know, so I don't know how they acquired it originally, but I believe it was donated
It was
to
donated.
the development.
Yeah.
Correct.
The development that was just northwest northeast.
Okay. Thanks.
I would suggest that we do something, like we did in the past, where we have a workshop and we catch people coming on the board. And we have that workshop that brings you up to speed, you know, maybe brief on the past, but especially the current projects that are before us. I think that would be really helpful for you.
One of these days, we're gonna go spend a day
Yeah.
and drive around, so.
Yeah.
John Miller is already.
Yeah, I've already asked for that.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure that out, so.
But
The
the
management plan
workshop,
is helpful too, if you have
Yeah.
a chance, but you don't wanna
Yeah.
tackle it all at one time.
no,
Tack it by section, it's outlined very well,
Yeah.
it's well written, so you can read 8 or 10 pages in prep for some new area, and then you'll feel much more comfortable about it, I think.
but the workshop is not a formal meeting or anything like that. It's to bring you up to date. And then any manager that wants a refresher can go with that too. So that's not a bad idea. Okay,
Thanks,
okay now?
I am,
Okay,
thanks.
all
Roll
right.
call?
Wait, more discussion? I noticed that in the due diligence section, it's more investigative. non-invasive investigative, and you're just walking around, checking all the records.
Yeah.
You know, there's no gas stations there, there's no cutting fluid plants, so you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But we do have one thing, Shallow Pond is kind of like a big stormwater pond,
Mm-hmm.
and so it collects a lot of sediment. And a lot of that sediment comes out from the dirty commercial area up where the target is and all that, all the oil and grease. So I know that some stormwater ponds, when they clean them out, all kinds of nasty contamination in there, and it costs thousands of dollars per pound to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So are you gonna take any samples? Because if we decide to dig that out and we find it's something we have to get rid of by burning or something like that. You know,
Yeah.
it's not that we can do anything about it, but we should at least know what we're getting into, I think.
Yeah, I think that's important. That will be highlighted in the phase 1, and then any samples and things like that would be in a phase 2, what you call phase 2,
So, okay,
essentially. So, but I think we would just highlight the possibility, and then if you were to do a project, no matter what, like even in the East Comfort Lake Pond, we had to collect samples as part of that feasibility. So it would also
Okay.
take place at that time as well.
thank you.
Then it would be grant, I mean, there'd be grant dollars that would help us do those projects, right?
Correct.
There's
That
not a
would be
scenario of us getting it, like you said, and it turning into a super fund or something less than a super fund, and all of a sudden we're on the hook for $1 million and grants aren't gonna cover.
Adam, would grants cover that?
Well, no, well, we would apply,
Or,
yeah. we would
Yeah,
look
grants
at-
could cover that.
Yeah.
But if the city cleans out a stormwater pond and it's got contamination, I don't know whether they can get a grant to pay for that, can they?
Well, we paid for that, for the East Pond, East
Mm-hmm.
Comfort Pond, we paid for the sediment sampling with the feasibility grant.
And then did you have to pay for getting rid of the sediment? by
That's
burning?
part of the project.
Okay.
Yeah, if it is contaminated, so the MPCA requires it because you can't put contaminated sediments into a landfill.
No, it has to be incinerated.
Right, so you have to test it to make sure, and then when you just do your final design, you have to specify where the spoils are gonna go. And so that could really increase the cost if there is significant contamination.
But the first principle is that everyone takes care of their own stormwater,
Mhm.
whether it's commercial or personal property. And so Target has, a responsibility to do that on their own, so does Walmart. And they've got, you can see their ponds out, as you go through the drive-through in Walmart, McDonald's. Right there along the highway, so you can see all of that. But if they're the holding pond for all of that area, as long as we're talking about it, where is that? Is it only on their property? Or do we have a stream, obviously, that connects it to the Bixby Park area? And that downtown, but where is the holding pond for that other part of downtown?
So each part of downtown would have like a sub watershed in
Mhm.
which the water would go to.
Okay.
Obviously, if it was under our current permitting process, they have to treat that impervious on site according to how much impervious they're increasing. However, there could be areas that were for the permitting, and those can have impervious going into the stream systems and or wetlands, and that would introduce contamination into those systems. But any excavation we do, we have to do that sampling, so. We did have to do it in Bigsby, and I don't think that was an issue at that time.
As long as the water from Forest Lake City is being taken care of and has adequate holding ponds and diversions, and that was the whole point of re-meandering Bixby Park, was to slow it down and let it have a place to settle. And then ours, of course, along Highway 61, but that comes from a different area. That's that wetland area going toward the freeway.
Yes.
So if there's ever a need for any more holding areas in downtown, we've got that property right on the end, or across the street from. Oh, it's not even across the street, it's next to that taco place, Taco John or whatever it is. In town, on the freeway corner. Yeah, that whole pond, that whole wetland area is still open, it just has billboards in it. And, there's a hotel on the, where I'm talking.
North of Highway 8,
Yeah.
east of 61. Correct, that.
Yeah.
Some, that kind of triangle. yes.
Mhm. Well, no, that would be if you're talking from Highway 8 coordinates, that would be south of Highway eight. It's before you come to Highway eight. Right as you're crossing Broadway on freeway.
Yeah,
this-
Broadway,
it-
on
it-
35.
Not the district's property.
Oh,
though.
no, I know that. I know
Oh,
that.
okay.
I'm just saying. If there is a need for a bigger pond, holding pond, that would be the right spot. It would be that one. And we have been approached in the past about that, so. As long as it stays open, there's a possibility, but. The general principle is to have people taking care of their own, whether it's commercial or personal. Okay. And now, are we ready to vote? Did we vote?
we seconded, we need to vote.
Yeah, okay.
Manager Shopmiller,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz.
Aye.
President Anderson.
Aye. All right, thank you. The next item is natural shoreline outreach plan or framework.
Madam President, managers, I don't know, let's see, no, Adam's on vacation, right, he's not here.
I
so
can
this is
introduce this one if you want, Mike.
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay. Madam President, managers, so this is following up at the last meeting, More Engineering presented the results of the Natural Shoreline Outreach Campaign. And so as a reminder, that work was funded by a grant through the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency called the Local Climate Action Grant. And so the deliverable from that was creating basically the materials and the action plan to improve shoreline resiliency. So natural shorelines are more resilient to, the changing climate and increased precipitation events and so on. So this is a framework is in the board packet, and it is developed based on all of the things that Moore presented last month. And so we are recommending approval of this, and that'll get submitted to the MPCA, and that will complete the grant requirements.
Okay, is there a motion? I'll make the motion. I move to approve the National Shoreline Outreach Plan Framework as presented the last meeting.
I will second.
I get it.
Okay, all right.
Thanks.
Any more discussion?
No,
Okay.
President Anderson, I just like to comment. I think this is a really good plan. Is if you have taken time to read through it, it looks really well thought out. And as it talks about in the explanation, homeowners need multiple touch points over time to build relevance and understanding and trust. So I think this does that. That's
Okay.
all.
Yeah, thank you. Any other comments? Questions? Okay, roll call.
All right, Manager Shopmiller,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz.
Aye.
President Anderson.
Aye. Unanimous, thank you. Next item under old business. You wanted this at the top, Mike, I think, if that's where I put it. Clean Water Council request. If you
Oh, I just had it,
Anywhere?
that's yeah.
Okay, we'll
Yeah,
to the
stuff
end.
we're gonna do.
All right, let's keep that and we'll bring this stuff down to the end. Okay, next item then is Heath Iron Enhanced Sand Filter Project Contract Award.
And President Managers, Blaine and Council Holman here to walk us through the contract and the review that you are staff did to get us to this point.
Can do a brief introduction, Madam President and managers. If you recall, we discussed the Heath Avenue Iron Enhanced Sand Filter. The project was ordered on January 23rd during the board meeting. And then the board also authorized solicitation of a bid on March 12th. The bid opening did occur in April 14th. We had a total of 11 bids ranging from anywhere from 1.25 million up to almost 1.9 million. EOR staff and council reviewed all of the submissions, all the bids, and have identified D&D Contracting LLC as the low bid that is both responsive and responsible. And we are recommending that the contract be awarded to D&E. D&D in the amount of $1,245,099.64. Be happy to answer any questions. Councilman Holtman is here. He was involved in the review process as well as Dr. Wilkinson here to address any comments from you.
Well, I would just like to know, that that's a $600,000 variance. I mean, and I know you're picking people who do the right thing, but we've had a couple of episodes in the past where people haven't done the right thing, contractors. So do you have a history with this company? I mean, I just want to make sure that,
Of course.
yeah, that we're not gonna be faced with a $600,000 project.
Actually, it's $254,000 difference,
Okay, whatever it is.
which is a lot less than.
Well, wait a second. I thought this was, one was 1.9 almost, and this one's 1.3 almost, so that's 6. But anyway, let's just,
Sure.
let's just go on.
As part of the review process, we requested references. Folks for EOR reached out and got references on all these on D&D regarding the amount of work that they've done in the past. EOR has not worked with them, but they have done a number of projects over the last 30 years, similar type of things, and we did our due diligence in that regard. We also, looking at the range of bids here, we had a number that were right around that $1.3 million mark. And then we had that one kind of outlier, which is at 1.9. We often see that in the bidding process where we get a cluster of similar bids and then one contractor that just throws a
Yeah.
number out there
Yeah.
and hopes that they're the only bid and they can get a
Bring
rig
it in.
and have a really nice profit on it.
Yeah.
So that's not uncommon, but we did see a number, the second lowest bid, I think, was 131 or something like that, 1.26.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's very competitive. The
Mhm.
number of bids that we got, reflected the interest in this
Mhm.
project, and therefore we're getting
Mhm.
what we consider a good bid on this. The engineer's estimate was 1.33.
Oh.
So we're in that ballpark.
Okay, so that's great. That's great information. I didn't know that, but that's good. It was probably in a document that we looked at.
It's in the long table.
Yeah,
Should be in the engineer's recommendation for
Yeah.
award. And I forgot to mention that attached is that engineer's recommendation as well as a resolution. for
Perfect.
this.
yeah, I appreciate that, being on the record, because, people might wonder, and now we've got a verbal capture of the process, and I certainly trust both of you to make good professional decisions. And so it's good to have that on record, but thank you. All right, any other questions or comments? No,
President
Chuck?
Anderson,
Yes. Manager Baca, go
has,
ahead.
has D&D Contracting been through any of the watershed district training?
I do not believe so, but I can follow up and inquire as to their training in that regard.
Yeah, you know which one I'm referring to, the one that was sponsored by a number of different watershed districts. I believe Big Marine was one that had a training recently.
Yeah,
Ever. Madam President,
Yeah.
Manager Baki, that typically is targeting shoreline
Mhm.
contractors, landscaping firms, not a large construction company such as this. They normally would not be involved with doing shoreline work. So we would not have expected them to attend.
Chuck, did you have anything to add?
No, Madam Chair, unless there are some questions.
Okay, you. All right, I think we're ready to get a motion. You have it up on the screen? Yep. Okay, who wants to make it?
I'll move to adopt resolution 26-0601, awarding contract to the Heath Iron Enhanced Sand Filter Project.
That's 05, not 06. So,
Oh, five, I'm sorry. Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
you bet. All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Manager Schottenmiller, seconds. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
All right, Manager.
Very really quick point of clarification. It should say 260601.
Oh, well, you were right.
The most, yeah.
So, roll call still? All right, Manager Shopmiller,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz.
Aye.
President Anderson.
Aye. Okay, unanimous, thank you. Let's see. Next is the Watershed Management Plan Minor Amendment Adoption.
And President Managers, so Emily's been working with the board and staff and Bowser on this, so I'll let her do the introduction. Thank you, Emily.
Madam President Managers, this item was discussed last at the May 14th meeting where we gave that presentation at a public meeting on the proposed amendment. We have concluded our 30-day comment period and we received a few responses, all of them basically just saying no comment, looks good, we support your use of the floodplain program and things like that. And then the Board of Water and Soil Resources, Bowser, reviewed all those and then concurred that the plan can be considered minor. And Bowser didn't have any comments on it. And so we kind of have the all clear to proceed with the final step, which is to adopt the amendment. And then it'll be posted on our website and distributed to all of the reviewing entities.
And how long does that take for review? Is that another 60 days?
Nope, it's not a review period. It is saying this is final now. Here it is. You can consider this not draft, but final.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion on this item?
I'll move to adopt the resolution 26-06-02, adopting the Watershed Management Plan Amendment.
I will second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Manager Shopmiller,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Aye.
Manager Tapes. Oh, sorry, Manager Schmaltz.
Aye.
President Anderson.
Aye.
Oh, no, Liz.
Okay, unanimous. Thank you. Motion carries. Next item is see, where do we go from here? Watershed Management Plan Minor Amendment Adoption. We just did that. Floodplain Resilience Project Feasibility Scope of Work.
My President Managers, Dr. Grovis.
Sure. Madam President and Managers, this is a scope for the next phase of the flood resiliency project that is funded by the current Bowser Water Quality and Storage Grant. So this is the next phase after the flood resiliency action plan was adopted. So this looks at conceptual design and cost benefit analyses for up to 2 projects, bringing them to 30% design, and then also includes public and private partnership outreach, and then support for grant administration that's included in phase 1 and reporting. We also included the map that was included in the project action plan framework for some of the sites that are being considered for concept design. And we will present the results as we kind of go through the phases.
Okay. How long do you think this is going to take?
That is a good question. Emily, what is the grant period for this grant?
I believe expires at the end of next year.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So we have some time.
18 months. That should be good, right?
Good, definitely.
All right. Any further questions or comments?
So you'll have the results in 18 months or?
I think we'll check in before the 18th.
Because we want to work with the city and that's a year and a half
Exactly.
away.
Yeah, the city will be involved throughout the process, especially when we get to deciding the plans that we bring to the concept design.
So in the modeling you do, if Atlas 15 is available in September, will you use those numbers as opposed to the?
Yes.
2 sigma Atlas 14
Yeah,
numbers?
yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
We'll use the best available data that we have.
So 2 projects out of the 10,
Yes,
and are they prioritized?
yes. Based
So
on
if we
the-
wanna do 1, we wanna do 2. And go down the list.
We'll see, yeah.
I mean, that's ideally,
Yeah.
we'd wanna start with 1.
Yes,
Alright. My brain just looks at this and says, why not 8 and 10? Because we just take a big swath, they look like they're already wet, they're already contiguous together, right? It looks like they do a big boost to us in water storage. And that's, but they're also further down the path,
Right.
right?
yeah, and we wanna evaluate how many structures we're taking off of that,
Okay.
you know, inundation list and things like that. But we also wanna look at co-benefits, not just storage.
Great for Wyoming,
Probably.
because it keeps all the flood water out of Wyoming.
Right, right.
But it doesn't help Forest Lake, downtown Forest Lake any, though.
Right.
So that's why it's gonna be interesting to see what you come up with.
Right.
Well, we have an idea though already, and the prioritization process.
We have some,
Yeah.
and we also have feedback from the city on where they're also having sticking points, but we want to give all of these the proper amount of evaluation, so,
Mhm.
and then we can discuss.
Well, that's our MO. I mean, from the very beginning is to go after the ones that either have the highest pollution level, the most damage in this case, potential. And take care of that and then work your way down to the ones that are on the lower scale. So that's behind it. And I think that we're going to have coordinated meetings with the city, correct?
Correct.
At every step of the way here? Okay, and that's gonna be with staff primarily?
Yes.
And engineers involved all the
Yes.
way down? Okay, very good. Oh, I think this is gonna be,
Interesting.
10 years in the making almost, but it's so important though. It really is because they'll see what our purpose is. It's not to stop their development, it's not to do that, but to do smart development. So that the rest of the community isn't damaged and the water resources aren't damaged. That's really our job, and this is a perfect example of a project that intermingles all of that, so. I'm very happy with this house. Okay, well, I'll make a motion to direct the administrator on advice of council to enter into an agreement with EOR in accordance with the June 1st, 2026 scope of work and in an amount not to exceed $89,288. Is there a second?
We're waiting, Dave.
I'll leave it up to you guys to second.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
I was just trying to keep Dave.
All right, roll call.
All right, Manager Shopmiller,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz.
Aye.
President Anderson.
Aye. Carries unanimous, thank you. All right, the next item is Clean Water Partnership Loan E agreement.
Madam President, managers, so the board has been discussing this, over the last, some number of months until last year with the budget. But, Emily can go over, this, she's been, communicating with the MPCA, so if you want to do an introduction, Emily, would be great.
Okay. Madam President, managers, so, yep, as Mike noted, this was discussed as part of the 2026 budgeting process last year. And the 2026 budget has $234,000 of loan proceeds to balance the 2026 budget, so to speak. And so this was last discussed in January, and the board adopted the resolution authorizing the application to the loan. It took a little bit longer for MPCA to review our request than we had anticipated, but ultimately they have approved our loan application, and we're kind of getting through now the legal and agreement process. And so this is kind of very familiar ground to the last four loan agreements, not grant agreements, that we've done. And so we would recommend that the board adopt the resolution, and then we'll proceed with kind of the signatures of the various legal documents, the loan agreement. And then once that agreement is signed and fully executed, we can begin to incur eligible expenditures, which can be reimbursed by the loan. So we don't, as a reminder, we don't get a big chunk of the loan revenue right up front. You know, we start tracking as of the date that the loan agreement is executed, and we submit those requests to the MPCA to reimburse ourselves for actual costs incurred that are eligible and in alignment with the clean water nature of the loan program.
Okay, we're good. You wanna make a motion?
I have just a
Yeah.
question to make sure I understand this again.
Mhm.
So we already have loan C and loan D, right, and on Schedule B? Emily?
Correct.
And so we're talking about getting loan E.
Yes.
So, I thought before in previous loans, we had a 7-year payment and they went to 10, and we had a 10-year payment and they went to 7 years, which put the squeeze on us. This loan E looks like it has a 10-year payment. Is that something that's changed again?
It should start off as a 7-year repayment. What is it that you? Double check that with the legal counsel and MPCA, but it should be a 7-year repayment schedule.
So we
And
must
then we
wait
could get
8 years
approved.
until we start repaying it then.
You know,
We begin repayments 6 months after we either disperse the whole the whole loan amount, or close out early if we want. And then that repayment period, you know, however much we have dispersed, that gets split up over the repayment period.
Okay. So this actually shows the repayment. So the first payment is $615,2030 of $35,944 for the principal, and the interest would be 5, or I'm just saying how this fits
I
together.
think it's, they require grant dollars to be spent within a certain amount of time.
Okay,
So you can't sit on them forever,
right.
because the whole point is to get them out there to people that have projects ready to go. And so when we get the, Emily just explained it. Why don't you say it again? She did it just right. I mean, you have to use it up within that certain number of period, whatever the years are. And then you start paying it back.
Okay. I just don't want us to get. Our goal is not to have any more loans, and we're on the right track to do that. So I don't want to have a $777,000 loan that we have to pay off that we didn't need. So we only have to pay off what we take. Is that correct, Emily?
Yes.
Even though it's
Yep,
approved?
that's correct.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Yes, exactly. We got approved for a higher amount, but our budgeted amount is you know, a quarter of that. And so if we stick with our budgeted plan, we would leave some monies on the table, and this whole repayment schedule gets revised and is the lower number.
Yeah, given our tendency to not want to have a big reserve fund, I'd rather have not be holding our resident dollars and take a loan if something goes off the rails.
Right.
That we can spread out, rather than say, we're just gonna hold this for a rainy day. I'd rather do it this way anyway, so that's good to me.
Okay,
Yeah. Credit card.
well, I just
Right.
wanted to make sure that we didn't need it.
Yeah.
We're not obliged to take.
Taking out
No.
750, right?
Right.
Now what?
Right. I don't know whether Scrooge is writing
Yeah, right.
rules or not. Okay.
No, we discussed that thoroughly before
Right.
we decided to do it. It's
Yeah.
like a credit card, and you know, something
Okay,
happens
no,
on
that's fine.
Forest Lake, one of those 10 projects you talked about last time.
Mhm.
We could do it.
President Anderson,
Yes.
I'd just like to clarify one more time that the board approved 234,000 in this loan, even though we're approved for up to 750,000. And the board has only approved 234,000. So I just want to clarify that we are not to exceed that unless we come back and discuss that, which I hope we don't have to do.
Yep, everybody has to say it in the way that you understand, and we're all saying the same thing. Exactly what you said, we're saying the same thing. Even though it might sound a little twisted, but anyway, the easiest thing for me is to just say that we asked for a limit on our credit card of 725,000, but we intend to only use, give me that correct number,
34.
234. So that's it, yes, so I think we all get it, right?
234
Mhm.
loan,
Right.
500 line of credit.
Make sure that, yeah, make sure that line, that number is
That's
correct.
the 500 on top of the 234, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Approximately.
Okay,
Yeah.
did we need a
Did you
motion?
make the motion?
No, nobody's made the motion. Everybody's afraid to make the motion.
It's $770, not $1,000.
Oh my God, no, it's not.
I know, I don't, just teasing. I'm totally teasing.
Oh my gosh, okay,
So it's time the treasurer will make it.
all right, I'm waiting.
I move to adopt resolution 26-06-03 and direct staff to proceed with the remaining requirements for the loan execution.
I'll second that. If anybody else will, roll call.
All right, Manager Shopmiller,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz.
Aye.
President Anderson.
Aye. There's unanimous, right? Manager Baki voted too? Okay, very good. Next item is Minnesota watersheds resolutions.
Madam President and managers, the district has discussed potentially submitting a resolution to the Minnesota watersheds, to proceed with the Clean Water Council presentation directly instead. However, so this group now of resolutions or draft going to the Minnesota Watershed Board, and they've offered until Monday to provide feedback to the organization. So for those organizations that meet once a month and
Yeah,
not within that window, they would have done, but. So anyway, just these will come back for whatever ones make it through the committee. Well, actually, they'll come back to the board for further discussion, but if there's any initial comments on them, the district can do so now as well.
I didn't see anything that bothered me about this. So these people feel strongly. It was nice to see that one from your old district, Fire Lake, on the wake boats. To see what happens with that. Everybody's concerned about it, you know, and talks about it at the conferences, but nobody wanted to step forward and be the first one. So if the watershed organization can do it, I think that would be helpful for all of us. That's really the only comment I have. The rest are fine with me. And if someone else wants to go to this, the meeting is August something, right, Mike? August 31st? Yeah. Okay,
The wakeboard one was from Radford, Victoria.
yeah.
Fire Lake did one on EIS.
Oh, okay, thank you. I got that mixed up. All right. So just if anybody has comments, bring them to Mike, or who else do you want to take calls on this if you're not available, or notices? Do you want them to go to you or someone else?
Well, they have through the end of the day tomorrow
And FYI, that's. Yeah, today, I'll be online for a couple hours in the morning, and then I'm taking the rest of the day off. Apparently, I've got something scheduled for me, so, I guess. Let's see who would be best positioned staff wise, we'll work it out.
Yeah.
See who,
Yeah, maybe Adam.
Adam was off.
Oh, he is,
right
that's
now
right.
too,
That's
so
right.
I don't know if
Okay.
anybody else, but I don't know, if Brad or.
Did CMSCD put this together on the shoreline issues? There's a lot of work here. I was wondering if they did all the work themselves or,
Early Marine, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a real big,
okay,
that's a huge focus
it's
on.
really good documentation to have. Yeah, so, okay.
Yeah, I thought they were all well done, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so get back to someone here tomorrow.
Brad, are
Brad,
are you available for Brad? Yeah. Okay, yeah, Brad. Thank you.
all right, the other item then, is that was added Clean Water Council request.
And president manager, so, yeah, so, President Anderson and I worked on a couple of items, just a short one-page memo referencing, Minnesota statutes, as well. We can maybe pull up, I just sent it by email, the items, and along with them, staff created a one-page handout, basically, I don't know, President Anderson, if you wanna cover the general
Sure.
sentiment of what those.
Yeah, of course, one of the proposals I had made for the Minnesota Watershed Association is the trouble that we were having doing the engineering our way and not the way that Bowser had put into the grant, particularly grant awards. And in looking at the statute, it's very clear that this is considered preliminary work. And it is to be payable under any form of compensation for that, or money for that. Compensation isn't the right word, but it is to be considered part of that engineering and scientific process that we are to follow. And it's spelled out clearly in our statute chapter, in subchapters, and so it's taking the resolution that I had done a rough draft on, and then just making that a document for the Clean Water Council. Now, the importance of that is the Clean Water Council is the entity that takes all the input from all the agencies that are dealing with water. And they have, I forget the number of people on their board, but it's pretty big on their council. I think it's 30. Yeah, something like 30. And every aspect of the economy, every aspect of the nonprofit world that deals with this kind of stuff. And then, of course, the entities like ours that deal directly with water. So everybody has a seat at the table, in other words, to implement the legacy amendment and all the money that comes from that. And so they have a new director at the council, and she is, in my book, extremely good. She has some background in nonprofit world and with water projects. Mike has a better understanding of her background, but they wanted input this year from everyone, the public, all of those areas that I just talked about. And they are trying to redirect their money into areas that maybe haven't been looked at before, but people consider to be important. And they are open to anything and everything to do the right thing by the public. And so this was a perfect opportunity and vehicle to take the attack that we had been using, I shouldn't say attack, but the approach that we were using with Bowser to get them to understand that these things need to be paid for and should be paid for. And we were getting, kind of a brick wall treatment. And Mike, of course, has been working on the sequential diagnostic monitoring, which is one aspect that's not specifically mentioned. And I should mention also that the legislation, it's 103D.711 is the big one that lays out the format for engineers to bring projects to the board. And they don't specify how engineers are to do that. And so it's up to each watershed, of course, to follow that format. But they're going to use different methods or different aspects of what's available out there to prioritize and target a project that has maximum benefit. And so again, that's been the overall concept of what our fight has been about. It's not specifically about diagnostic monitoring, that's what we do, but it could be anything. And so this takes it to that broader level. And quite frankly, I didn't know about that ask by the Clean Water Council until after our last meeting. And it was just sort of this perfect, meld of what we really need to do in the conversations that Chuck and Mike and I had before the last meeting at around 4:30 in the afternoon. So that's why we're excited about it. And on Monday, they are taking allowing people to speak directly to the council for meeting day. So Mike and I will be going down there and giving the pitch vocally as well as, I'm really excited about it. Because we clearly have a deficit in one step of our process, and that's the preliminary step. And to be shut out of that and to be forced to use a format that's not appropriate for watersheds. It's based more on the SWCD world, and it works for them, but it's not what we need. And not just us as a one single watershed, but all watersheds.
And how do those two connect to Bowser?
Who?
How do those two connect? So the Clean Water Council.
Well, Bowser is one of the agencies.
Under them? Or-
Not under them,
Okay.
but in the state
Yeah.
that deals with water.
Right.
And they are the designated one that handles all of the funding and money for watersheds.
Right, are they part of this council?
Yes,
Okay. all
oh,
right.
yeah,
So they're at the table.
Yeah.
All right, I was wondering if we were talking to this agency that then could influence this agency, but
This
Bowser's
agency.
part of it.
this agency can influence.
Right.
Bowser and how the money is spent, that's the
Sure.
biggest thing. Go
And
ahead.
President, so they do have elected officials, senators and representatives on the council
That's
as
right.
well. It's a really legislative committee, so they're advising to the legislature. Bowser board chair will be in attendance as a member.
Okay.
Bowser receives a little more than half of the clean water funds
Sure.
that come through from the tax appropriations.
For water issues, yeah.
Correct,
Yeah.
for,
Mhm.
so the big player.
Anyway, we're excited about this opening, this door opening, and we can, and at the right time when they're asking for all of this. And so one of the areas that we'll be talking about, obviously, is that the preliminary phasing area for all watershed projects need to be funded. And that's what they're looking at. How do we shift money from here and over to there? And what new things need to be looked at that haven't been in the past? And, and they want public input too. So if any of you can feel free to contact them by any method. Text, email, message, whatever they want. They
Carrier
want
pigeon.
contact. Carrier pigeon.
All right.
You bet.
That was good offer.
Well, it's nice to see an important government entity like this that has such impact on our area to be that open about input.
Great.
So we'll keep you posted, I guess, is the result here, the end point, and Obviously, they'll be looking at everything that came in and on Monday. And it'll take them a while to go through. They probably will do some committee work, I suppose. So it'll take, I think, a couple of months for that to all settle down and find out what their advice is at the end. Okay.
Great.
So don't ask us next month.
I mean,
Okay. Okay, Mike, next is Cranberry Lake.
and president managers, so the district had acquired the property, roughly south of the North Shore Trail area, a good portion of this, the same family that owns where this property is on the north side, which encompasses roughly half of the shoreline of the lake, and of Cranberry Lake. So district had previously done some investigative work overall on that. It was part of our diagnostic assessment years ago. The shoreline or the part of parcel on the south side was, the district was more interested, the Lake Association had reached out, and the interest there was more protection of there was 1,000 feet of shoreline, and most of it is a forested wetland. So, but this other properties come to sale, the house, which we understand to have a failed septic system or non-compliant. So, which we think is probably going to be problematic for anybody to rectify, given the elevation. So prior to the realtor for the family contacted the individual that represented us on the acquisition of last piece. So I informed that person that we're aware of it, that was for sale, but I've not done any more work on it other than just asking EOR to what information was on site, and so Ann can maybe speak to some of that as well if you want. But overall, there's again, this sort of like the short term versus the long term component of it, and just looking for some guidance as to you know, what the district might want to do to look at some of that. I mean, there's not, the water quality coming out of Cranberry Lake is pretty good right now. We wouldn't have a full 80 pounds of reduction that's coming in there currently. It would be potentially adding some flood storage, but kind of given how big Forest Lake is on the downstream side, it wouldn't be that impactful. You know, however, it would be some element of, like, the district could, as we pull up the parcel view, there's a chunk of the property that's on the south side of North Shore Trail that's contiguous or connected to the parcel the district owns currently, so we could protect that wetland. On the north side, there's quite a bit of additional wetland and shoreline. We could investigate acquiring the wetland portion, the house, separate the house off, and make it more palatable to sell for the family and as well. All the way up to what is the actual condition of the home, you know, I mean, without having photos look interesting, might be a nice thing, but just, yeah, there are 2 other parcels around Cranberry Lake, and that conversation with at least one of them. There was interest at one point in selling us a small chunk of the wetland portion previously, so like there's some the historical aerial photography does not show a very well-defined channel in the past. It's probably similar to Shields Lake, where the water bodies were separated by a wetland complex. Over the years, the road has been added, filled in, cut that wetland off. There was probably some element of wanting to provide some
it can be any number of reasons. Sometimes they would cut channels to add more water into a water body, you know, if it was a low condition. Or they thought maybe they could try to farm it, during the thirties or something, but it's not very distinctive in those photos. So it's, but without having done a core sample, we're not able to do, which would be needed to do a DICOM reconstruction to tell you whether or not the water bodies were connected and what sort of, so anyway, I just wanted to have a quick discussion with the board as to whether or not you want me to do any additional investigation on the property. So,
President Anderson,
Go ahead.
Mike, is it possible to pull up a map so you can show us approximately what we're discussing?
yes, and then just for reference, also, I sent the staff had put together some slides and I sent that out as a PDF. So are you able to highlight that one? That parcel? Right there, yeah. So,
Can you move that box? So is that whole thing right there?
correct.
Okay.
Um,
That's what the picture looked like, is that it's just sitting right in the middle of a wetland.
yeah.
Did you say that the septic system wasn't working? Is that what you said?
It's listed as being non-conforming, correct?
Well.
So,
Yeah.
right, which wouldn't necessarily surprise us given,
Mhm.
and that, that does not necessarily show us, obviously, freshwater emergent wetland, but there's also, but that's our map, but it's not. Because we know that there's other portions of that property are wetlands.
Where does our property end, Mike? And where's the extra property? That's a culvert pipe, the red light pipe right coming through there.
Correct, so. Are we not able to highlight the parcel, like click on it and then, can we do the property viewer versus our district one? Maybe,
For 1 moment, I'll pull that one up.
thank
Yeah,
you.
I've got the static screenshot in the meantime.
Okay, yeah, so, yeah, staff, I put this together. So there's the parcel for sale. And then you can see North Shore Trail cutting through it, so there's a portion to the south of the roadway. There's, that we could discuss, you know, like acquiring that portion of it to add on to the rest of the, that area, just from a wetland protection standpoint. The other is, I mean, that parcel does own the majority of the open water portion of Cranberry Lake. There's not a lot of current impact on the shoreline of the lake. I mean, it could be fully restored. But there's also the risk of, the DNR does allow, you know, residents to remove more vegetation, so you know, so there's always that possibility, depending on what somebody wanted to do out there. So it just depends on what, I mean, again, I could have a conversation, there's the section about where the channel is that comes out of the lake. And you know, what the longer term piece is.
Who owns the other half?
There's two property owners there, you can see those triangle, or one's a kind of a triangle, one on the other.
Okay.
That smaller one, this one for sale about 2 years ago, I think, so. But there was. Well, I guess, you know, that's, so we've done some look at it, because it's just like, well, that was a small piece and we weren't greatly positioned for it. So we've not talked to any of them long term about any conservation easements or otherwise.
Did the property owners approach you, or how did you find out about it?
The realtor contacted the realtor that the district used for the,
Oh,
the the other parcel.
So how will move the house? Have you looked at it, or have we looked
I
at it?
have not looked at it.
It's a stone house. now I know where it is.
The
It's right from the
stone
house.
fireplace, is the stone house so too?
Yeah,
Okay, so it's
it's
pretty hard.
I looked at it. I looked at the house to buy it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, not like went into it, but I looked at it on the listing. And then I realized where it was and I'm like, oh, that 33 acres, this is great, except all of it's underwater. So not really. 33
Yeah, so
acres.
that's what we. Yeah,
Right.
Especially if you get a 10-inch rain,
Right.
the house might be underwater too.
Right, that's
Might be
what.
floating around.
Right,
That's
we
why
don't
they built it
know.
out of rock, so it wouldn't float.
Yeah,
You could see how that was a large, much larger lake at one time.
So how does this work with us buying property? Is this something that we could get this property and we could turn that into an income property, rent it out?
no.
No, we can't.
No,
We do it
So-
for conversation. purposes,
Yes.
Or
So I know
conservation.
we get the property and then do it for the conservation piece, but if there's a house on there that somebody could live in?
No.
Could we not rent it out then?
no, I don't
Well-
really want to. Chuck's the only one that can answer the question.
well, no, the grants that we seek are, we would not, I mean, they typically don't want structures on them, right? They're not gonna
Okay.
help buy the building, so.
Yeah.
So that's, cause the conservation partners legacy money that we
Mhm.
utilize to get the other parcel. The guidance from which they get from Lassard Sam's is not gonna allow us to use it to buy the property.
Right.
Could the district with levy dollars? Yes, if you came up with a plan for
Sure.
making it available as a.
I don't
something,
think
you
it's
know.
an investment property, but I was just thinking if you had the house on there, maybe. There's some benefit. So, but okay, I understand.
Yeah. I know. I mean, maybe the Lake Association might do that, so.
I was thinking of the Lake Association making a decision and voting on whether that's appropriate for them, is to see that go to conservation. You know, protect that area. We don't want more housing there, not if it's,
Well,
It's got
I don't
a-
think there'll be any housing in there. I don't
No.
think-
no, or even another family in that house.
So it's kind of like the
Septic.
property we ended up buying was there on sale for 20-some years. We moved up here in 2002 and that property was for sale and we finally bought it, but nobody else could buy it.
Mhm.
So maybe we could accelerate that process and get them to realize that and get a lower assessment on it and then buy it through a grant.
Yeah, I could call the realtor and.
Because-
Just inquire, I mean, just, they have to have some real reality check in terms of the possibility of being able to put a system in there, septic that is.
Yeah.
There just may not be the space or the elevation or the material, you know, something that.
But the owner's realtor is the one that called you, correct?
Contacted. Well, the owner's realtor contacted the realtor that the district used for the other parcel. And that individual called me. That the realtor specifically called that other realtor.
Because they knew they had worked with us.
Right, and they said,
Yeah.
can you call the district?
Yeah.
And see if they're interested in the parcel.
Yeah.
And we were already aware of it, actually, Kevin Bean from EOR
Mhm.
had alerted us that the property was for sale.
Okay,
But. Kind of like, well, it seemed like a little bit of a stretch, but after them contacting and having some discussion, but it's been. Available now for a month, they've dropped the price $50,000 and.
But if you look at this, like we did the trail work park, you know, that one, the park we own right now is very unique, right? There's no other property like that. Look at all the houses around the lake.
Yeah,
Those two pieces of property is a dominant, conservation area for it. The only thing on the lake that's not developed. And, and I guess somebody could figure something out to do with it, but, it'd be nice to be able to protect it, because look at it, it's all natural, and the park looks great now, they've made some improvements already. And it should turn out to be a really nice peak area for us.
well, just talk with Chuck first before you make any action. Make sure we're not crossing any lines, and we don't want to. Personally, I would feel better if the Lake Association, Forest Lake Association had some buy-in on this. You know, talk to them about it at one of your meetings and see what the temperature is. But I agree, it would be a good property to take out of occupancy and just let it be the natural.
it
Like the
is.
yeah, exactly, the natural thing that it is. It's not really a buildable lot. Did you say that you sent that picture to the full board also?
Correct, there's.
Okay, so you'll see it. You can see the house, you can see the property around it. Have you been there? Blaine?
I've driven by it many times.
Okay.
There's a large.
It's just water.
But I recall that, I think it was Jerry Grunner from the Lake Association that encouraged us to buy the original piece we bought. They wanted to take it out, so I think that we would get some support.
Yeah.
I didn't know whether we wanted to, there's pros and cons to getting them involved too early too. So, but although there's not much tax value there, and so people are gonna get upset if we take a big hunk of property that has a high tax
Not if
value.
you can't sell it. I mean, that
Yeah.
house is basically sitting in water.
Yeah,
Their septic system doesn't work. What's their well like?
no,
Or are they on city water?
We're not, it's not a big
It's
high.
not a
tax.
healthy place to put people.
If they paid $10,000 in taxes, I'd be surprised.
Well, we could look that up, I mean, it's
Yeah.
probably, I would be surprised if that much at all.
What's our, like, let's just say. We ended up with that, what's. What, how can people use that then? So, I mean, could people duck hunt there? I mean, is this,
In theory, yes,
okay,
yeah, right.
no,
It would be within the city limits. of
Yeah.
Forest
Oh,
Lake,
right.
and there's no discharge of firearms.
Right.
Wait, they-
what?
Yeah, they.
Yeah, I don't know where you live.
I don't know where you live, but every
But-
first day of hunting season, I gotta go out, pick up all the shotgun shells off my shore.
So there's fire,
City
And I can
regulations, but
see the city.
there's shotguns going off. It feels like they're going off right outside my door.
Yeah,
I believe
that's,
there's statute that there's not supposed to be firearm discharge in city limits.
an ordinance.
Ordinance. I believe that's
That could well be, it's just another one that they don't enforce.
perhaps.
So dangerous.
Yes.
It's each shot, it's each shot, it goes about 100 yards before it's, doesn't, I've been on a lake where there's hunters on the other side of the lake and. They're shooting and I'm getting rained on BBs and it's like rain. Beep. After 50 yards, you can't, it doesn't really do much.
Unless you're looking at it.
Well, no,
on rides.
Yeah, duck shot, not buckshot.
Well, anyway, it's a unique opportunity. Do you want me to talk to the Lake Association? Think
Well-
about, there's no downside to it. I guess if they support us.
Yeah, we could do, I mean, the only, like, I would not want to incur any more expense with the EOR, I mean, at some point. Like, if there was, you know, like the potential, even though it'd be minor, right, but again, from a rest, just, you know, being able to. Depending what you wanted to do, evaluate the core, you know, take a look at the lake, you could cut off Cranberry Lake more or less. From Forest Lake, probably like it was historically. Again, if you look at the old aerial photos, you really don't
We could-
see.
When the water's low in Forest, like we could sell water to the residents to keep it higher.
Well, you say you would just put a riser, maybe 6 inches or something, store a little bit more water, keep the wetland wetter longer is basically. So is there value? Yes, long term, I mean, as much of it is just protecting it. And you know, whether, I mean, the other is that you would have to submit an application for the grant.
Well, that was my next question. What, does this have a chance of getting a grant? I mean, we read through the first time. It's not nearly as nice as the other property, but it's different. It's not, it's different. It's not, you know, good or bad. It's just different. It's more wetland.
Right, and in an urban area, in fact, Emily, I think you'll verify this, I think it was just today or yesterday, there was an email. That the legislature has directed, fundings for the Conservation Partner Legacy to be used solely within the 7-county metro area. Going forward here, so.
So they want
To
to say.
recapture wetlands and,
Well,
Over
just
again?
for, right,
Yeah.
you know, so they've
Great.
set that as a priority. you know, the legislature did, which surprised, I think, many of us, right? So, but, so I would say that now the possibility is even greater that this will be, is connected to another conservation area.
So this fits right next to the other one. I would think they'd be interested in having us expand our area, wouldn't they? We talked to them about that, or?
Yes, and that's why we're having the discussion now. It's like, doesn't, you know, does
I
the board
think,
want me to
I
have?
think it's doable.
I think I'll talk to the Lake Association.
Yeah.
I'll talk to 4 people that are leaders there.
Yeah.
I'll have to get a couple slides from them. You can send me so I can show them.
This has been sent, it just,
Okay, good.
during the meeting, you're sent it to you, so.
Cranberry Lake, does that go toward Little Comfort at all, or does anything exit that way? I
No,
know
it comes, in fact, other water bodies, Elwell to the east
Mhm.
drains through some of the neighborhoods and goes into Cranberry.
Mhm.
And what's the watershed for that cranberry? Is it very big?
It. You know, we have
Looks like
a
it's-
different map, but it comes from this area. Sorry, not gonna be able to see online, but comes from Elwell through this and then drains into. Cranberry, then into Forest Lake.
Okay, Third Lake. Right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Yep. Well, do we have enough discussion on this that we can move to the first step?
Yeah, I'll talk to the Lake Association and report back to you what they taught me and
All right.
go from there.
I'll contact the. Realtor and just, if I
It
can,
would be nice to get the property that's on our side of the road that abuts to our property, no matter what happens.
Right.
Right, because that completes our packet. That doesn't access the lake at all, though, right? Because we own all the lake shore, right? Or the DNR owns it, right? And that,
no, well, no, I mean, people can go up that channel,
Yeah, but we have
normally
that
by
channel.
kayak or something.
we own that channel, though,
Right,
right?
yeah,
So if we bought that stuff, the property that's across the road, that's connecting to our property, there's no shoreline that comes with it or anything like that.
no, no, just wetland,
I misunderstood you there.
yeah,
I thought we picked up more shoreline, but,
no, but just additional wetland. So,
and the DNR's part is just close to the boat launch. They own that little corner there, right?
correct, but it's all contiguous, it's all connected. So
Right.
this would be a further extension of that
Right,
wetland system. So, which would have additional value in itself.
okay.
I mean, you know, you could go so far, did some other work. Unfortunately, they just redid the trail, but you could potentially bore, a trail crossing or something like that, but it would have been. You know, a couple of years ago, prior to the road being done, that would have been a really good time for a wildlife crossing and that location, because I'm sure there's a lot of critters that go from one side to the other. So.
Okay, good, thanks, Mike, for that information, yeah.
Okay, Minnesota Watershed Summer Tour, did you wanna talk to the board about that?
Just a reminder, just that they've put out something, managers should be on the list for. Jan's, from Minnesota Waters, functions, the registration for the event is open and the hotel up in Detroit Lakes is available. So it'll be. See, starting it's Tuesday and Wednesday, August 25th through 6th, I believe. Yes, so. Yeah, they have our administrators meeting in the morning, the 25th, so. Then they'll have events with the watershed. Minnesota watersheds will have meetings in the afternoon. Something in the evening and then a tour on Wednesday,
What city did you say it would be in
Detroit Lakes.
here? Okay, can we move on?
Yes, just
Okay,
if you're interested, Tori can assist with making reservations or registration.
I don't think there's.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
Uh,
So,
is this a topic where the board would consider authorizing expenses of managers who wish to go,
And administrator,
Yeah.
and even the administrator.
Yeah, well, I think there's gonna have to be a budget transfer because there's only $2,500 or $2,300 in that area. For visits, our budget's really tight this year on that. Most managers aren't taking, aren't submitting their expense sheets for work that they're doing outside of the meeting, so. That's saving some money there too. But there's only, you can look it up, Emily probably knows it off the top of her head, but it's around 2,500, I think.
I'm probably not gonna, I've been to a number of them, and if you have a chance to go, it's a good learning experience for you, you learn a lot, and I know you're working, have to take a day of vacation, but you know, it's just an idea.
Right, no, that's that 3 days of vacation last year was a lot, and I have, it's early in my fiscal year, so I'm still kind of getting everything rolling. I don't know that is gonna be okay.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. We've all worked during that in our youth. Yes,
Madam President, Mr. Holman. So if I'm attending as administrator, we have our administrators meeting on Tuesday. Should I still bring back a motion for just myself, or is that already implicit within the budget that's been passed and approved?
Well, I just raise it because I know the board has specific thoughts about being careful about expenditures for conferences and these types of things. So I just wanted to raise the question in case the board wanted to explicitly reach a consensus about expending money for this event or not.
well, there's time to think about it. I mean, we certainly can approve. I think you have
Okay.
money in your budget, right? Administrator budget?
Right.
Okay. So we can make a motion or an agreement that you can be unattended.
I could bring something back next meeting if you want, or we have time.
Yeah,
Okay,
we do. And you can think about it too if you change your mind.
right.
Or any manager.
All I'm saying is if you wanna go,
No,
we
it's,
want you to go, because you're gonna get more out of it than we are.
yeah, thank you, and I learned a ton at the last one, so deep down, I'd love to go. But
But you gotta
I
manage it.
I gotta be,
Yeah.
I just
We understand.
recycle.
Okay, so the next item is report of managers. I'll start.
Project update first.
I'm sorry?
Project update.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, project updates, sorry.
Madam President, managers, I'll just run through the project update real quick. Keep on going to the actual projects.
First of all, what was that tree there?
I think it's a crab apple.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty.
Which one, this one?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so.
okay,
I think
That's just outside the office here.
okay.
Not sure what it is. All right, so just wanted to let you know that we did receive a grant for a conservation corps crew to come assist with some of our O&M maintenance project implementation. They're gonna be coming out next week, and we're gonna be working on some buckthorn removal at Shields Lake Park with the cities. They'll also be working at the Bone Lake South nature area, removing some invasive species and taking down some old fence. They'll be helping out at the County Road 50 Iron Enhanced Sand Filter, doing some of the bed maintenance there. And a number of other small little projects around the district. So it's nice to have them come out and help us and then have those individuals learn a little bit more about natural resource management and things of that nature. They're gonna be coming out a few different dates in the next couple months. Moving on
Trying to
to,
anticipate the go.
no, you're fine. Moving on to the Heath Avenue Iron Enhanced Sand Filter, which we discussed here today, so that contractor was recommended and approved by the board. So I'll be reaching out to the contractor, letting them know if they have the notice of the award of the contract. And then working through contracting in the next few weeks. Hopefully, we'll be breaking ground on this project soon.
Mhm. I think I told you that there's someone that is, they bought that property right along Highway 8. And it's not very big, but does that interfere with our project at all? Have you looked at that?
That little triangle
Yeah.
section,
Yeah,
it should not, no.
okay, good.
And any rerouting of Heath Avenue associated with the highway should not impact
Okay.
that project either.
All right, good.
Next project here is our green infrastructure project, it's formerly the Goodwin Avenue. We did change locations on that, and it's now the East Comfort Pond. I'll have to retitle that one. But a small project here, direct drainage to Comfort Lake. EOR's been out there doing some survey work, taking some soil samples, and they're working on the feasibility as we speak. We should have some results back from that, hopefully in the next month or so, and then the board can decide if we want to move forward on that project, but that is coming along. The Bone Lake South Nature Area, if anybody's driven by recently, we just did complete the installation of the new perimeter fence. If you recall, there was no fence dividing the old farmstead and the property that we acquired. So that fence was put in to separate those two properties, and then the entire perimeter fence was upgraded. The old one was in very poor condition, falling down in many places. So we used grant dollars to replace that fence, and then we've got a number of statements or scopes of work coming forward in the coming board meetings to actually begin some of the restoration, planning and design work for the project.
And will we be discussing how to use that park?
Yes,
Okay.
one of the scopes that'll be brought forth is for the management plan, which staff have been working on. We'll have a draft put together, and then EOR will begin collaborating with EOR under that scope
Okay,
to
Good.
flush it out and make
Good.
sure that we have all the elements.
that's so pretty. You know, in that area, I know Manager Bodies talked about taking walks there, and a couple of other people have talked to me about that, and they're just so thankful that that is part of their world, you know, that little section. Yeah.
Good to hear that folks are excited about it.
Yeah,
One of the other scopes that we're bringing forward for this property is the access area. So we hope to fast track that because people are excited about the property. We'd like to get safe access off the main road there where the city does not want folks parking along the roadway.
Mhm.
So we're hoping to get the park kind of or nature area up and running and accessible for people as soon as possible.
Are we putting trails in?
Yes, there's a series of old farm roads. Throughout the property, we'll be converting those essentially to trail, moving a few things around to avoid sensitive areas, and then kind of connecting things. So that'll come in the next few years.
They'll also, I mean, principally there'll be service trails as well for the district staff and others, so, but people can then just traverse through, so.
Okay.
So that would do a purpose.
Yeah, there's a pretty good network of farm trails and whatnot already in place. Next slide, please. School Lake Agricultural BMPs. We have been working with the landowner in this area to do some non-structural improvements and kind of come to the end of that journey with that individual, and we still have a few dollars left over. So we're looking for some other opportunities in that same drainage to use those funds. So stay tuned on that. Next slide. That was the last one. So kind of short and sweet. Happy to answer any questions that anybody might have.
looks good, all of those projects. Exciting. Especially for me, that used to be a real source of pollution, that farm, yeah. So to see that cleaned up is really, really nice. Okay, good work. Now, moving on. Report of managers. Dr. Manager Baki, I elevated your position there for a minute. Would you like to start?
Gladly accept the title. Thanks. The only thing I have to report is that today I had the opportunity to go to well water testing at the North Branch Library. I ran into Angie Hong there. She was part of the group that had put this together. I learned so much about my well that I never knew. There is a resource called the Minnesota Well Index that documents when your well was drilled and what they went through and all the different things that contribute to putting the well in. And also at this meeting, my well water was tested for nitrates and chloride. I know Manager Anderson, you have a well, and I know Doug Taves has a well. This probably doesn't pertain to the other managers because you're on city water, but this
Well,
is,
well,
oh, you do?
We
Okay.
all have wells. Yeah,
Oh, you do? Interesting. Okay, I was under the impression Forest Lake had a city water system.
yeah, not on.
only in the city.
Yeah.
Well, then we all can relate to the importance of this
Yeah,
well
yeah.
and how we need to perhaps bring this to the forefront of,
Water.
Let's let him talk. Go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Dave.
Anyway, this is an important issue that we perhaps should bring to the forefront, talk more about well water and provide opportunities for our constituents to learn about their wells and have their water tested. I don't know if that's something we want to look at, but I think we should.
I think it's a great idea to add to our outreach and ask well, I forget their acronym, but ask Angie to duplicate what she's done for our area in particular.
It'd be a great project for Adam.
Well, okay, whatever, but she's got all the materials pulled together, that's all. Maybe you can work with her. That can be the start of our little partnership at a smaller
Yeah, I mean,
level.
there are so many resources out there that are available to people with wells that I didn't know about. And
Yeah.
It would really be beneficial, I think, for our constituents to learn about
Mhm.
what their well is
Yeah.
and have the opportunity to have their water tested.
Mhm. I think that's a great idea. We should talk to Adam when he gets back from his vacation.
Yeah, collaborate with Angie. No, it's a great idea,
Yeah.
actually, because cities are paying members, so is the county. And
Yeah,
Lower St. Clair,
absolutely.
so.
Thank you, Manajabaki. I've gone to their test of the water, but we didn't do the well. They didn't have that kind of explanation on that day. We just brought our samples and then waited for them to do the analysis, and then we got to sit with an expert in that area that told us all about, what that result was really telling us. So,
Yes.
yeah, that's great. Okay, Manager Schottenmiller.
I just went on the walk, the walk by my house
Okay.
yesterday,
Mhm.
yesterday,
Yeah, 2 days ago.
yeah, so that was my first experience on one of our
Mhm.
events. So that was good,
Good,
and a lot of people showed up.
wonderful. I was gonna ask that. Was it well attended? 20 people?
Was 20, 25, something
nice.
like that, it seems,
That's
felt like that.
Yeah,
Was it?
Sounds
especially when
great.
it's such a hot day.
Yeah, right. I was and there were people coming from St. Paul, and
Oh, wow.
I was like, why?
Oh, they are from,
I knew that was,
magazine.
I came because this is
Oh,
8
He
houses
was
away from me,
asking
but
questions and taking notes, so he's gonna write an article.
Oh.
some diehards coming.
Yeah. Well, good for you. Manager Schmaltz.
Yeah, I just found out from Mike that our Willow Point project has moved along, that we've actually with the owners got a permanent,
Intent to sign a permanent conservation.
they haven't signed it yet, okay, intent. So that's some good news. Hopefully if we get that signed, we can move forward. So
And where's that?
Willow Point,
Oh, the Willow
Pizza
Point
Pub.
people, yeah.
that big issue that we,
Uh,
yeah, the
so,
place we almost bought.
yeah, are they going to do the peninsula? Is that it?
Well, we're gonna try to reconstruct, well, not reconstruct it, but try to preserve it and
Okay.
enhance it.
Okay, they'll still own it though.
Well, I don't know, will they still own it?
Yes,
Yeah.
conservation easement would be placed on top of the property.
Okay. So you can't really control what they're doing then.
No, that's what the
Yeah,
easement.
You would?
Yeah,
Yeah, you
Okay.
can't picnic out there and all that. We have to get
Yeah.
some rules laid out for that.
Okay.
Right, will be laid out within the easement document. Mr. Alden is extremely adept at that.
I had a conservation easement on my property. And I couldn't even pick up dead branches off the ground.
Ooh,
Yeah, I mean, you can lock it down like nobody's
Okay.
business.
Wonderful, that's good to know. Okay, are you done?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay, the only thing I have is that, I went to our, Comfort Lake Association meeting. And, Adam was there as the liaison for the watershed, and it was really good. Brought lots of materials, so that's good. I don't know if you have him come to yours. Forest Lake Association, but it's good. It's good to have him there. The other thing was that we're seeing, little areas of pretty aggressive EWM growth. And I know we've talked about this in the past, but I would like to bring it forward at the next meeting again. I think I talked about it at the last meeting, and I did want some exploration into why we aren't looking at EWM as something that we should treat. Because it's sensitive to phosphorus and nitrogen. It's not just one or the other, it's both. And when it grows into that mass that we had on Comfort, when we did our own full lake thing, it was a mess. I mean, it was, you can't even take a boat through it hardly. So it is blocking all of the sun coming down in the bottom and keeping, the production of oxygen down there, so things die off. So it's not something that we should not be seriously looking at, in my opinion. And I've read a number of different studies, a lot of them from Washington, Wisconsin and Michigan. Those universities have done a lot of studies there, and they're finding that aggressive treatment is better, because if you let it go, it's so fragile. They're like little leaves, but they're not, I forget what it's called, but the technical name. But those split off very easily from their stem, and so it spreads very easily around the lake. And we have a small lake, so that means everything gets touched. It's not just a little part of it. So, and Bone Lake's like that too. So, so I think there's another discussion that we need to have with some science behind it, not just what I read, but maybe our staff and Eeyore, if you've got any data on it. But it's, to me, something that the district really needs to take another look at.
Yeah, I think once we get when we do a evaluation of the milfoil in July or something like, so once we get that report from your lake, we can see what that tells us.
Yeah, exactly. Well, at the meeting, I'm saying it because at the meeting, there were several people that were talking about it. It's very thick at their homes. And these are people with good natural shorelines. It's not people with naked ones. It's affecting them in that area. So I think we need to pay attention to it. It's always been something that I have never been able to justify, why we're not doing treatments on that when we know it's everywhere. And it's been around now for a long time. But the science reports that I've read are changing from, just wait and see kind of attitude to a more aggressive. And obviously it's not as expensive when you can catch it early and not have it spread so much during the summer.
If I recall, I thought we did have a policy, and maybe Mike could have somebody check the minutes, but I thought the policy we came up with was that if a lake has high density, that the Lake Association of the watershed would pay for that. But if the Lake Association then would pay for everything else that was treated. But where the high growth is, I thought we were gonna step up and take that responsibility. I'm not sure we're doing that anymore, because I know doesn't Forest Lake pay for all their stuff except for the
It does. The policy of the district has had on this topic has changed through the years, from being entirely Lake Association, partially district, all district, back to the component of what the shared application based on whether it's beyond the 150-foot mark or not. The other is for the lake associations to look at the same similar agreement that the city of Forest Lake has with the Lake Association and the district. But
that's an arbitrary number. I mean, it's unique for every lake. that might work in Forest Lake where they've got, shallow water so far out into the lake itself. I don't know the bottom of Bone Lake all that well, but if it's anything like Comfort, we have deep water within 15 feet. So, because we're a deeper lake than you have, and so going out 150 feet, that's almost to the middle of our lake in most of the cases, and you're just talking about 25, 30, 40 feet, when you get out that far, so that's not practical.
Well, I think,
Yeah.
yeah, we need data, so that's what
Yeah, we do, and that's why I'm bringing it up to talk about it seriously at the next meeting. I think it was 2 meetings ago when I did mention it, but I'd like to see more information. It was when the stonewort stuff came up. It was that same meeting, and I didn't understand why we were going to be treating that one, but not the one that exists, that's already present, so. I want it to be more fair as a program and not so isolated for some things and not others. Okay, that's all I have to say.
So that,
There's nothing else unless somebody has something. Okay.
so I'll move what we adjourn.
No,
we gotta
we have to do the
right.
review. Summary and approval of board direction.
Madam Chair, managers,
Mhm.
President Anderson will talk with staff about looking to arrange interviews regarding the Greenbelt and Bone Lake South projects with the local media. Manager Baki is invited to speak with Adam about incorporating into outreach information about residential wells and well water. And then I'm not sure if there's from the last discussion, if President Anderson is suggesting that staff should come back with the water milfoil policy for more discussion.
Yep, that sounds right. And we already said at the beginning that Mike and I are going to go to that meeting, so I don't think we need to have that on the directive, but we'll get back to everybody at the next meeting on how that went. Yeah. I am asking for past compensation as well, because it should have been paid for from the beginning. And going forward, of course, that should be a separate paid grant phase for us, and all that preliminary work can cover them. All right, thank you, everybody.
Motion to adjourn
Thank you.
is in order.
It is in order.
Basically,
I move that we do adjourn.
and I'll second.
All right.
Muller,
Aye.
Manager Baki,
Aye.
Manager Schmaltz,
Aye.
President Anderson.
Hi. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.